Stage 1. The first crime. You're 19. The first one is small. Not small in the way that small means harmless. Small in the way that small means survivable. The kind of thing that gets filed and forgotten in a precinct with larger problems than you. You steal from a man who was stealing from people who couldn't afford it, and you tell yourself, this makes it different. It makes it different in no measurable way. What it makes it is the first, and the first is the one that matters, because it teaches you that you can, that the thing you thought would feel impossible feels, in the moment, like the most natural thing you have ever done. The police come to your mother's house 3 days later. They have nothing. They leave. You watch from your bedroom window. You feel something you will spend the next 20 years chasing. Not the crime. The feeling after. The electric clarity of having done something irreversible and walked away intact. You are 19. You do not understand yet that you are not walking away from it. You are walking into it. The door is already closing behind you. You don't hear it. You are already thinking about the next one. Stage 2. The reputation. You're 24. Your name means something in a specific geography. 3 neighborhoods, 2 cities, a network of people who move money through channels that don't appear in any registry. You have done 6 things in 5 years. None violent. All precise. A bank system manipulation that took 8 months to plan and 3 minutes to execute. A cargo diversion that redirected $11 million in pharmaceuticals. A forgery operation so clean that 2 of its documents are still in active use by people who don't know what they're carrying. You were arrested once. The case collapsed in pre-trial because your lawyer, a meticulous man in Brussels who charges €400 an hour, found a gap in the evidence chain and opened it wide. You walk out of the courthouse on a Tuesday morning. A man you don't know nods at you from across the street. You nod back. This is how the next level introduces itself. Not with a handshake. With a nod that says, "We have been watching, and we like what we see." Stage 3. The network. You're 28. 7 people across 4 countries. Each knows only what they need to know about the others and about you. A social engineer who can get inside any organization through a phone call. A cryptographer who builds systems that would take a supercomputer 11 years to break. A logistics coordinator who has never lost a shipment in 12 years. A woman in Singapore who manages money in ways that leave no trail a human auditor can follow. You are running operations across 3 continents. Interpol has a file. It is thin. It contains a name that is not your name and a description that was accurate 2 years ago. You know about the file because someone inside Interpol is inside your network. Not through coercion. Through the oldest recruitment mechanism available. Money delivered consistently to someone who decided their principles were worth considerably less than what you were offering. Stage 4. The score. You're 32. 14 months of planning. 11 days of execution. The target is the financial infrastructure of a private investment bank in Zurich. The operation involves no buildings, only systems, accessed through a chain so indirect that the entry vector originates from a server in a country with no extradition treaties. Total extraction is $340 million. It moves through 19 accounts in 11 jurisdictions in 47 minutes before settling in a structure so layered the money is effectively invisible. You take 30%. The rest is distributed according to a formula everyone agreed to beforehand, which you honor completely because a network runs on trust and trust runs on consistency. Interpol's file doubles overnight. They know what happened. They do not know who. The who is the only thing that matters. You are in Lisbon when the news breaks. You order room service. You sleep 8 hours. You wake up and begin planning the next one. Stage 5. The name. You're 34. The press invents a name for you based on operational signatures identified across 7 major financial crimes. The name is dramatic. You find it embarrassing, but it does something useful. It creates mythology. And mythology creates distance between the real person and the imagined one. And that distance is operational cover. You cultivate this carefully. An operation in Tokyo that fits the signature, but contains 3 deliberate anomalies. An intercepted communication, real, that you arrange to be intercepted, with accurate method and false origin. You are having a conversation with the people chasing you through the evidence they collect. You are telling them a story. The story is almost true. Almost is doing a great deal of work. Stage 6. The life. You're 37. You live in 4 cities on a rotating schedule that never repeats. Ordinary apartments in ordinary buildings where neighbors see a quiet professional who travels for work and nods in the elevator. You cook your own meals because restaurants have cameras. You exercise alone. You read extensively because isolation leaves long stretches of time that must be filled with something. You have had 3 relationships in 8 years. All 3 ended the same way. Not through discovery, through the weight of sustained concealment. The specific exhaustion of loving someone from behind a version of yourself that is constructed rather than real. The last one ended when she asked you a question so direct and accurate that you understood she had already arrived at the answer. You said nothing. She packed a bag. She left. You sat in the apartment for a long time after. You are sitting in it still, in a sense. The apartment changes. The sitting never quite ends. Stage 7. The chase. You're 39. A joint task force now. American, European, Asian agencies under a shared intelligence framework built specifically around your name. They have your financial signature across 11 years. Physical descriptions from 14 witnesses synthesized into a composite that is, you are told, uncomfortably accurate. A partial DNA profile from a hotel room in Amsterdam you thought you had cleaned thoroughly enough. You had not. You change your operating pattern. Longer gaps. Different geography. You rebuild 3 communication layers from scratch because a network contact was arrested in Copenhagen and belief that he held is not certainty. You are more careful than you have ever been. You are also, for the first time, aware of something careful cannot address. You are tired. Not of the work, of the weight of being unfindable. Invisibility is not freedom. It is the most demanding performance you will ever give, with no audience and no end. Stage 8. The betrayal. The cryptographer. 12 years. You trusted him with the architecture of everything. You trusted him because he was brilliant and well paid and had as much to lose as you did. What you didn't account for was his daughter, her medical situation, the total vulnerability of someone who would do anything for the person they love most. The task force found this 6 months ago. He held for 3 months. Then he didn't. He gave them the architecture, the access points, the location protocol, the rotating schedule you thought only you knew. You find out through a tripwire on a Wednesday morning. You have 40 minutes. You are out of the apartment in 11, at the border in 38. You cross with 2 minutes to spare in a way you will never be entirely sure was skill or luck. You drive. You do not look back. You have been here before. This time feels different. This time it is. Stage 9. The shrinking world. You're 42. The countries where you can operate safely number fewer than 15. In practice, it is a handful of cities repeated over time, and repetition creates patterns, and patterns end people like you. No operations. No network contact. You are living on reserves, managed through structures the task force has partially mapped. You have changed your appearance twice, not surgically, through weight, hair, the slow minor alterations that shift a face enough to fail casual recognition while appearing entirely natural. You are in a city in Southeast Asia with a large transient population and a porous security infrastructure. You run in the mornings. You read in the afternoons. You think about the cryptographer sometimes, not with anger. His daughter needed him. He chose his daughter. It is the most human thing anyone in your network ever did. You cannot fault him. You can only live with what it cost you. Stage 10. The end. A camera outside a market, upgraded 6 months before you arrived, feeds into a database connected through a data sharing agreement to the task force's facial recognition system. Your face passes at 8:14 a.m., flagged at 8:16 a.m. By 9 a.m., people are looking. You are 2 kilometers away, having coffee. The coffee is good. That's the detail you will remember. The knock comes at 10:47 a.m. 4 people, 2 local police, 2 task force agents who have been on your file for 6 years and who look at you with the expression of people who have been chasing something for a very long time and don't quite know what to do with the stillness. You step back. You put the coffee on the counter. You put your hands where they can be seen. You say nothing. There is nothing to say that 14 years of evidence doesn't already say more completely. One of them reads you your rights in one language and repeats them in 2 others to cover the jurisdictional question. You nod. You are calm. The file always got that right. The man they were looking for was always calm. Outside, the city is ordinary and full of cameras you didn't know about. There is always one more camera. In the end, there is always one more. Stage 11. The file. There is a room in Lyon where Interpol keeps its most significant closed cases. Your file is substantial. 11 years. 22 countries. Total estimated impact of $1.2 billion. 47 investigators across 19 agencies. 3 task force directors. 1 cryptographer who held for 3 months. 1 camera outside a market upgraded 6 months before you arrived. The file contains something unusual. A note handwritten by the 3rd task force director, clipped to the inside back cover. She ran the investigation for 4 years and is considered the world's foremost expert on your methodology. The note says that in 26 years, she has encountered 3 people genuinely exceptional at what they chose to do, and that you were one of them. It says, this is not admiration. It says, it is simply accuracy. The file is closed. The shelf holds it. Outside, Lyon is ordinary and unhurried, and entirely unaware that on the 3rd floor of a building on a street most people don't know, the record of one of the most remarkable criminal careers in modern history sits in a beige folder between 2 other beige folders containing stories that are also extraordinary and also over. The next folder is already being written somewhere. It always is.